Hey, everybody. What is happening? Another Facebook Live coming to you from Bill Lewis. We got, oh, whoop, my phone's talking.
He's hearing
How about
double.
that? Let's not do that.
He's a little obsessed with himself. He's watching his own live feed while doing it.
Not true. I was trying to share it, Jack. You should try that sometime. Hey, so you've got the kind of Trace Amigos here of GSM Fishing. On the, I don't know what side of the screen you're on, but Wes Higgins, how are you this evening, Wes?
Doing good over here in Louisiana.
Yeah, holding it down and
Yeah.
in LA over there. And I got my main man Jackson Dice here with me. He's been hanging out with me. I'm about ready for Jack to go home. We've been rooming together for a couple of days at a show, selling some baits, hanging out with people, talking fishing, and kind of like we did last night for Yamamoto and we did last night for Buckeye. We're going to spend a little bit of time tonight talking about the Bill Lewis family, right? Part of the GSM family of brands, and really on a larger scale, just kind of part of the GSM family, right? Like what I think people, if you watched last night, that you'll see tonight is when we got somebody that we bring into our mix and we obviously want to work with, in most cases, when they don't have any type of a what's the word I'm looking for, a conflict with sponsorships, we try to work with them across the board. So you're going to see some people added tonight when we kind of reveal this new Bill Lewis lineup that you've seen with our other brands. But before we get into that, here's what I'd like to do. Wes is, there's nobody better to talk about Bill Lewis than Wes Higgins. Before I knew Wes Higgins, I knew Bill Lewis was Wes Higgins. Wes, I want to pay a little bit of a tribute to the team that you had already built when GSN, when we acquired Bill Lewis. You came over here. Thank the Lord, we wouldn't know what we'd do without you. But tell us a little bit about the concept that you had for team members and your pro staff, and like, once again, not to sound cliche, but kind of the family of Bill Lewis, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt, at Bill Lewis, the pro staff, it was a real key to what we did in trying to bring it forward from being just a rattle trap only company and really broadening the product offerings. And the main way we did that was just in listening to the pros and trying to get feedback and figuring out what they really needed, that we could make for them. And, we could do that on a limited basis on the old Bill Lewis budget. But one of the nice things now with GSM, you see that we're really ramping up that product development engine, and we're able to even take more of that input from our pro staff and really develop these pro-driven style lures that really perform well out there, So
you did a fantastic job. I mean, you took a brand that was primarily known for one style of bait. Now, granted, it's a pretty dang iconic bait.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anybody that bass fishes that doesn't have a trap story or a trap memory or something of that nature. I know I sure do, and so do most everyone I know. But on the outside looking in, I was somewhere else then. You were with Bill Lewis then. This was pre GSM Fishing. It looked like that you built a pretty strong staff of guys that were the right guys that offered you a diversity in style, offered you maybe a diversity in regionality and experience, and you took all of that, compiled it, and came out with a couple of pretty dang successful baits utilizing that process.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I'd say one of the things with Bill Lewis and Rattle Trap that helped us on the pro staff side was that some of these great traditional tournament lakes like Gunnersville, Rayburn, California Delta, they also happen to be grass lakes,
right?
Where a rattle trap super effective, especially pre-spawn. A lot of tournaments are actually won on it that time of year. and working with those guys on the regional level that were dominating in those areas, and then just kind of growing from there,
Yep.
and really staying true to our grassroots, and always, supporting the tour level guys and working with them, but still also really giving equal amount of love to the regional guys,
Sure, man. Absolutely. I know in my travels around the country, either fishing tournaments or working on fishing tackle, man, I can't tell you how many hundreds of Bill Lewis or rattle trap decals I've seen on boat windshields or truck back glasses or boat wraps for that matter. Like it seems like, wherever there was a hot lake, like you're talking about, there was some, regional hot shot that was a believer in the brand and a user of the product and an ambassador for the brand. So I feel like you did a really good job there.
Well, and I have to give credit to the man himself, Bill Lewis, because he did make it kind of easy on us because the rattle trap was such a great bait. All these great fishermen were already using it, right? So you really just
let me throw this out there, Wes.
Yeah.
I talk to people all the time that don't know this, and I just think it's super cool. It's like a legacy deal, but explain to us what Bill Lewis was to you.
Yeah, so Bill, he was my stepdad's dad, and my mom and stepdad got married when I was 6. So I grew up calling Bill Pops, and he was the only grandpa that took me fishing, and he was one of a kind, man. He always had Twinkies, Camel cigarettes, and a fishing rod nearby. Just from a different age, a World War II vet,
Yeah.
But you talk about guerrilla marketing, like bumper stickers, all that. He was known for going down to the boat dock at Toledo Bend, and he would look for boats that had the competitors' bait, like a Cordell Spot was the big one back in the day. And he would actually cut them off and tie a rattle trap on. And a lot of times people would come out, hollering, "What are you doing in my boat?" Cutting the lures off my rods. But he was that aggressive. And he would tell them, "Look, if you're not happy, I'll give you 2 of these to replace that one," kind of thing, But he was that confident in his bait.
That's awesome, man. You just don't hear stories like that anymore. It was a different age in America, and men like Bill Lewis made it that way,
Yeah.
So, man, I want to say that we are super honored to try to carry on that legacy, that tradition, that care and stewardship for the brand. I don't think there's any possible way we could do it without you and what you bring, the background, the passion for the brand. You ran the brand single-handedly for how long?
17 years.
That's
It wasn't single-handedly though at all.
Yeah, bro. I know. You know what I mean. Like
y'all have met D. Davis.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so
ain't
D
no
ran the brand.
that ship without D. Davis and Jennifer Roy. And like Alfreda Carter that painted millions of baits. But man, it was a real honor to get to work with them, and they did make me look really good.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Then you did a good job getting the right people. But yeah, I could. I think most of us could go start any startup company and take Dee with us and be a superstar. So
yeah, she's awesome. And for the record, she's still with us, y'all.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's take let's real quick run us through, and you don't have to go through the names, but I don't want to talk about the new guys without respecting the current guys, respecting the maybe the legacy guys, even a guy that's been here for a couple years but not forever. Last night I was very hesitant to go through the list, right? Because I'm gonna leave somebody out, and I don't want to be that dude. But Wes, talk to us a little bit about the current pro staff before we get into the new guys.
Sure. Well, I'm probably going to end up leaving somebody out because I have the list of the new pro staff in front of me right now.
We're gonna laugh at you when you get called out for it, but go ahead, tread lightly.
Yeah. Of course, here in recent years, Mark Daniels Jr. has been a real key figure with our brand, and really cool story with Mark, how he got to know Rattle Trap as a youth out in the California Delta area, fishing with his dad from the banks for stripers and everything else. And rattle trap just so happened to be the bait that they used on a regular basis when he was a kid. Going further back, I can remember 2007 when Boyd Duckett was the first ever angler to win the Bassmasters Classic in his home state. Nobody had done that before.
Really?
He won it.
He broke the curse.
I did not realize.
Yeah, and I didn't know who he was, but I knew he won it on a rattle trap, and I was quick to go up and introduce myself right afterwards. And I'll never forget shaking his hand. It was so tore up. You know how when you're grabbing the line and pulling fish off?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah. So you heard about it, huh? But yeah. So we agreed on a deal like within a few days, and we've been working together ever since. He's the only guy that's ever won the Classic on a rattle trap. You have legends like Dickie Newberry, who arguably has won more money on Sam Rayburn than anyone. I don't know. There's some other guys that are up there too, like Todd Castledine and people like that. But Dickie Newberry is a legend, and it's been an honor to work with him. He is just a wealth of knowledge. I mean, he's got so many little tactical details on his rattle traps. What size hook goes on the back so that it'll tilt up and come over the grass better, and he's just really dialed in. And the tournament earnings kind of prove it. But
there's an MLF like Bass Cave with Dickie Newberry, and you guys should check it out because it's just trophy.
I happened to see a video today that's about to be released, and you guys will see it soon regarding like the Battle of the Brands event coming up. And Dickie Newberry gives a little insight to the Rayburn tournament and what to expect and all that. And man, that's the background, right? Like his trophy case. You're just like, like who's won that many trophies?
Yeah, it says a lot when you see that many trophies behind a fella. But
we not only do you have some hot shot, big time.
Look at Nick LeBrun and what he did this year, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he went on a tear. Was it 2-3 events he won? So
2 this year.
Two tour events this year, and then the Open last year.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've gotten to know Cliff Crochet in my time.
Cajun Baby. Yep.
Yeah, Cajun Baby. I can't understand half of what he says, but I love the guy. I mean, you can't not love him. I don't know what he's saying to me, but I love him. And man, we brought on some local hot shots, some regional dudes too, like Colin Bodie and Marshall Hughes. Like,
oh man, he's been winning so much lately. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing about how we're doing this brand by brand, but overall at GSM is, man, I never want to be a marketing company. You know what I mean? I mean, marketing's part of the game, but you can't fake authentic. You can't fake authenticism. And I feel like we're really, really staying true to what we believe is important. And that's culture, that's authenticism, that's transparency. Like we're the three of us, like, man, I'll be honest with you. I've been in this business most of my adult life. You don't see people do this. Like, get on here and just be vulnerable. Throw any question at us because it's pretty dumb, really.
Wide open.
Anything you want to add, Wes, before we jump into the new guys?
No, I mean, I know we've got a lot more guys. I can't name them all right here, right now, but I'm thankful for each and every one of them. We've been really fortunate, have a lot of great support. I mean, got some great fishermen on like Brock Mosley.
I was going to say Brock Mosley comes to mind as somebody that's been hot for a while.
Chris McCall is another incredible fisherman that has won a ton on Rayburn.
On a track, right?
Ken Ma out west.
Yeah.
Stick, man. I mean, he kills it out there on the Delta.
Yeah, we talked about him last night. We added him to some more brands of ours. And that guy is God, you can't talk about West Coast fishing without thinking about Ken Ma.
Bobby Barrett, another West Coast legend that he lives and dies with a rattle trap. all about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, dude, I'm telling you, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, not. I grew up on Kentucky Lake, the Tennessee River, and dude, we threw a trap. That's what we did. You went out in the spring and you threw a trap. The first tournament I ever won in my life by myself. The first tournament I ever won fishing by myself. I caught smallmouth in about 3 feet of water next to deep water, and they were up feet. I caught them on a 1/2 ounce black and chrome trap, right? And dude, everybody's got one of those stories, you know.
Those lakes are full of shad up there, so I would think it works pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. So
look, it works anywhere there's bass. That's the thing.
That's the thing. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Even if you're in the Northeast, like where Gray Buck is at, there's another person who's just a phenomenal angler.
Gray Buck, yeah.
We're working a show here in Nashville right now, and we're working in the booth. We're selling tackle, right? And you wouldn't believe throughout the day how many times somebody comes up and goes, "Man, I caught my personal best on a rattle trap," or a Cinco. We've got like 2 of the most historic, incredible singular products in the history of the sport. Obviously the Cinco Yamamoto, but the trap with Bill Lewis. And I never get tired of hearing people tell me how awesome they are. I don't deserve it. I didn't earn it, but man, I love to hear it. So
absolutely. Yeah.
So let's get going. Because I want to leave a little time at the end to do kind of some interactive stuff. That's really fun, usually fun. And but let's go. Have you got your list pulled up so we can kind of be looking at the same thing, Wes?
Yeah, I think it's the same list. It's the one I just got on email here. Yeah.
About being vulnerable.
Yeah. So I tell you what, if you don't mind, I did this last night. I want to introduce this first guy.
Okay.
Man, we bragged on him last night twice. I'm going to brag on him a third time. And if you want to talk about him tomorrow, I'll brag on him then too. Yeah. But, this is a guy that I consider a mentor in a lot of ways in my life. An incredible angler with insanely good fishing resume. I've worked with him countless times in the past. In my previous life at Strike King, he was with me over there. And I think he said last night that the first TV show he ever filmed, he fished with me in it. Yep. I drew the guy in an Elite Series event one time. He was my boater. I was the co-angler. But I'm talking about James Niggemeyer from Van, Texas. And, James is one of those guys that started on the West Coast, migrated to Texas, as so many have, pro bass fishermen over the years. James is a guy that's a very versatile angler, can catch them any way, but we've already, I know how excited he is to represent this brand, the belief he has in the product, and what an incredible ambassador James Niggemeyer will be, not only for the other GSM brands, but specifically for Bill Lewis.
Yeah, he's a fellow I really look forward to working with. Haven't had a lot of personal interaction with James over the years, but I've never heard anything but good. And I'm really just, looking forward to have the opportunity to get to know him better and work with him. I've watched those TV shows you're talking about, right. So I've respected him for a lot of years. So it'll be, that's the hard part about this industry.
I tell you this, if you ever hear anybody say anything bad about James Niggemeyer, you can write off anything else they said to you.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. Since we're going through the process, little Jackie, read us. He gets a new nickname every time I call his name. Read us a little bit out of James's bio.
Okay, so just reading James's bio, he's been a professional angler since 2007, and he's from Van, Texas, and he competes at a tour level. He's fished with bass. He's fished with what was once FLW and now MLF, and he's going back to the Bassmaster Tour to the Opens this year to try to requalify. And he began competing on. He's fished when he began competing in 2007 professionally. In that time, he's fished 212 total events, so a lot of professional experience. He's claimed 4 victories, 19 top 10 finishes, qualified for 3 classics, 2 cups, and he's finished second in the Forcewood Cup, one of the biggest stages in bass fishing. He's earned $1.197 million. That's what he's racked up. He's a skilled promoter. He makes regular appearances at the Meet the Pros night and spring fishing classics. And he's been on numerous TV shows such as Pro Team Journal and Fish Hard. And he works hard with everybody. Every brand that has the opportunity to work with James has been blessed by how much he works to promote them. With not only his character, but also his just ability to not only fish and then talk about how that product is integrated into his fishing. And so he's been married to his wife, Sandy, for 18 years, and they have 2 kids, and they are active in their local church. And in between professional events, Niggemeyer and his son, Daniel, fish and hunt in their home state. And they recently earned their first win together in an afternoon tournament. So family tradition living on in the Niggemeyer household.
Yeah, he's, and I think a testament to how much you like a guy and believe in a guy is when you've worked with him before and you would hire him again without question. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
When this opportunity came up, it wasn't there was no hesitation. It was absolutely thank you for the opportunity. So really excited to add James to the Bill Lewis family. He's going to be a huge attribute. So who do we have next, Jack?
Next up on my list, again, what the list we have, we've got out of another PA angler that we're adding to the Bill Lewis team, and that's Matt Becker. And he's someone who's, compared to James, he's a lot newer to the fishing world. But in that short time, he's racked up a number of accolades himself. So Becker's won at the Toyota Series level. He's won at the pro circuit level, at the fishing against the top of the cream of the crop. He's done well in the points year after year, and that's what has allowed him to qualify for the Bass Pro Tour here in this 2023 season.
And how long did it take him to do that?
I don't know. I think he qualified for the pro circuit. I think that was back in maybe 2017, 2018, because he won Rookie of the Year his first year.
That's what I was thinking of. I knew he did something pretty phenomenal in his first year.
Yeah, when if you look historically at either professional tour with the caliber of talent that's on there, traditionally speaking, the guys who have won Rookie of the Year, generally they're the guys who end up sticking around. And so that's always a really good indicator of an angler's future potential, is if their first year they can stay consistent enough to still hang with these guys who have been doing it for 212 events like James. If you can do that, that's a good sign. And Matt's done that, and it's led him all the way to the Bass Pro Tour.
That's right. So Wes, Matt Becker, new guy, Northeastern guy, up and comer with a lot of experience in 5 years, right?
I'm really excited about adding Matt onto our team. One confession I have to make is the Bill Lewis pro staff is a little bit slim up north. So it's really cool to see some northern guys coming on board, especially as we're rolling out jerk baits and different deeper range crankbaits and things that they'll be able to utilize, everywhere, but up there too. And looking forward to seeing more brown fish in the pictures,
Yeah, for sure. And that guy's, if he's fishing the BPT this year, the thing about the Bill Lewis line is we make something no matter where you're fishing, whether it's up north, down south, out west, shallow deep, skinny, whatever, right? So Matt's actually on here. Some of my earliest memories of fishing is tying on a 1/4 ounce blue chrome trout and catching some smallmouth. Now it's come full circle to be joining the team. Yeah, man, we're pumped about this too. Says he's pumped about the scope stick. Man, that scope stick's kind of been the talk of our booth the last couple of days. So I think a lot of people are jacked about getting the scope stick in their hand.
Awesome. Well, after Jack went out there and caught 30-something pounds,
I was jacked.
Yeah, I was
jacked. First ever outing with the finished product and catching.
Literally the first time on the water with it, huh?
The best 5 ever in the U.S. Yeah. Literally the first time ever throwing it. So it was a good lake, but it was an even better bait to put that.
It was a public lake, though. I mean, and what was it, 34 pounds or?
I wish, if we round up, 33.5. So
34.
Good enough for me.
Right. And guys, hey, for everybody tuned in, man, a lot of these guys, I see them in the comments. I see James Niggemeyer. Thank you all for bringing me on board. Looking forward to working with you all. So man, if you got questions for these guys, you can throw them out there. You want to I got a text that we've got one of our new guys that can jump on with us. You want to do that real quick? Just kind of throw a little monkey in the wrench.
Yeah.
See if we can make it interesting.
Yeah.
We got a man behind the scenes here kind of running the keyboard, or I don't know where he's running this. I'm Jack and I are in Tennessee. Wes is in Louisiana, and then we got Ricky. Where's he at?
He's Virginia. He's back in my home state.
But Ricky, if you still got our main man on, you can throw him up here. Here we go. What's up?
What's up, guys?
How are you, Fletch?
I'm doing all right. What about you?
Man, better than I deserve, brother.
That's awesome. Nice to meet you, Wes.
Yeah, nice to meet you. All right.
So,
definitely pumped and proud to be a part of Bill Lewis. Really looking forward to things to come.
yeah,
we're excited to have you on.
I told this last night that, like, I know a whole lot of pro fishermen just after spending a career in this sport. Fletcher was one of those guys that I'd been around, but I didn't know. I'd seen him around, but didn't know him. And, for the past year, got to work with him at Yamamoto. We've got to hang out some this summer at Guntersville. He's actually living in the God's country in Tennessee now, right? So, we got the picture there. You froze up on me. Looked like you fell asleep. Fletch also apparently has narcolepsy. But anyway, I'm gonna get Fletch one of them big orange hats. What's that?
I said I'm at an Airbnb in Florida right now, so I'm just working with what I've got.
Man, hey, that's all we're all doing. We're working with what we got. But Fletcher's one of those guys, you'll see him here before long with one of them orange hats with a white tee on it. I promise you it's coming. Man. But Fletcher, I said this last night, has been just a pleasure to work with you, dude. Like, I call you a friend. I enjoy getting to talk baits, talk product development, talk fishing, all the things that you've got a professional insight on, and help us grow our product line. So, I talked last night about primarily your shallow water prowess, but I have no doubt, based on the conversations we've had, you can get out there and crank them up if you have to. You can sling that trout down. So
I've seen you crank up a few smallies on St. Clair, haven't you done? Didn't you?
Every now and then, when there's no other options, I will get out there and do what I have to do. It takes a lot for me to abandon what I like to do, but I will go do whatever when it comes down to it. So
well, that's the thing, man. Doing what you do, you don't always get to do what you like to do. So we're going to try to give you the tools that you like to use where you're at, right? So
for sure. I would say what's one thing that's so cool about, with GSM, with you coming on board, man, it's been it's so awesome. When I look at Bill Lewis, and I started to learn more about the baits and how you guys have done things in the past. Like, there are some lure companies out there, I feel like, will just try to just sell to the fishermen. They don't really care if it, works with, on the fishing side. They're more about just moving product. And I can tell, just with Bill Lewis and the things that you guys have already done in the past and are going to continue to do, I'm really excited to see where this is going to go, because there's so many things in the bait lineups that, everything has a specific purpose. It's not just to catch fish. This stuff is actually to catch fish. So I feel like there's a lot of hard bait companies out there, Crispin, they're just pushing whatever's going to sell. But I really, really feel good about what this company's done and the direction we're going, headed into with you guys. So.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. I know Wes does too, because you're basically respecting what Wes has done and not us at this point. But
it's been really good, obviously. But I'm so excited to see where this is going to continue to go. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, I agree. It's key. Like, when we're designing lures, and we did just meet face to face on here, but we have met before, right, on product development calls where we've talked about development stuff, and I got to see how Fletcher really gets into product development. He loves it. I can tell. And so I think he notices how important functionality is in lures to us. We'd much rather a kind of pretty but functional lure than a really pretty non-functional lure, right?
So,
yeah. I'd have to give that to Fletcher, man. Like, I've been doing this a long time. You have, Wes, and I've sat on a bunch of calls face to face with guys talking baits. And dude, Fletcher's dialed. He knows what he wants. He's very particular about why and how. And Fletcher, you're smarter than I thought you were, dude. I'm just gonna be honest.
Must be the flat bill. You didn't give me enough for what?
Hey man, how's
I do get into this stuff a little bit. You know what I mean? And I'm definitely not now for a while, and you just see trends and see things that work and why they don't. You know, there's just so much that I'm still learning in this game. But yeah, I'm super particular about the tackle that I use. You know, for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, man. It's nice to work with people who believe in what they believe in and can tell you why, right?
Yeah.
So hey, before we move
man.
on, man, how's baby girl doing?
The baby's still in the NICU, but she's doing good. She's doing real good. Just typical premature complications, a little bit of issues with breathing and eating and some things like that. But I think she's going to be fine. So we're hoping the next week or two. But I just hope that everything, at the end of the day, if it's another month, it's another month. Just as long as she's good and healthy and we're able to, move forward. It's kind of weird. Like obviously this is my one and only, so it's kind of weird having a baby, being a dad, but her being in the hospital this whole time. It's been a little strange, but things will get normal here soon.
Well, dude, we're praying for you. I know a lot of people are, and I believe she'll be fine too, dude. So, man, keep doing your thing. Give the girls our love, and we're gonna keep moving on and talk about some of these new folks.
Right on. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks for jumping on, Fletch. Take care, bro.
See you, Fletcher.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. So, without any more introduction, Fletcher's a hammer. Everybody, Fletcher's had a very successful career. Like I said, primarily known as a shallow water guy, and as luck would have it, we make some pretty dang good shallow water hard baits. So, Jack, you've been in the boat. I've never fished with him. I've hung out with him. You fished with him, right?
Yeah, I got to see him go to work on Gunner's Float. It's actually like kind of on a bucket list thing for me to be in the boat watching him dissect grass with a flapping hog in his hand. And it was just hearing him talk about it, just the way he thinks about fishing is impressive to me. Like how I'm watching a master at work when he's dissecting shallow cover, and I'm excited to see what he does, bringing that to the shallow water baits that we already have in Bill Lewis and the ones that we may or may not build in the future.
Yeah. And I want to throw this out there again. And I mean this as the utmost compliment as somebody who, man, I like product development, and tackle is my favorite thing ever. Dude, Fletcher just has got it, man. He really, it's another level. And there's some really, really good fishermen who know what they want, but they just know this is what I want. He can describe to you in graphic detail why it wouldn't work if it were another way. And man, I love it. I love working with guys like that. So, yeah, he's going to be a huge addition to the team. All right, Wes, who you got next, bub?
Well, let's see. You want me to go to the list here?
If either that or
I see Nick's over here clowning, talking about my attire. Informative.
Oh yeah, no, it's not. Hey, it's not
like
just
these.
He is extra pretty tonight.
Let's see. I got the pajama pants on underneath, so
that's all you got to do, man. Welcome to 2023.
Man, let's see. So we got. Make sure I'm looking at the same list as you guys.
If you're not, we'll just adjust.
Yeah. Okay.
Surprise! It might be very surprising announcement.
How about Taylor Watkins?
Taylor Watkins. That's actually who we have next.
Taylor Watkins, professional angler. He says he was introduced at a very young age to hunting and fishing. For him, it's more than a lifestyle. It's his passion and his drive in life. He grew up fishing northern Alabama lakes, Tennessee River. He says he's been fishing competitively since his early teens. However, it wasn't until early 20s that he wanted to pursue the dream of becoming a professional angler. Started fishing the TBF locally and had made his way to nationals, then decided to give the Costa Series a shot. Had decent success there where he qualified for the championship. And then 2021, he joined the National Professional Fishing League.
and went to work.
Let's see here. Yeah, Jack, I think I heard you talking about Taylor some last night, and
Yeah, I sold him a little bit short. See, I remember last year he won 2 out of their 6. They did the NPFL does 6 events a year, and he won on Cumberland. It was a 1-day event. He blew it out.
Right.
And then went to Toho, which ended up being a slugfest. And he
Was
won
that the
there.
next event?
No, that was the final event. So
Okay,
it wasn't
gotcha.
back to back. So he fished one in the spring, and then that one on Toho was in the fall. Fishing grass versus it was in the, I think he was in the back of some cuts on Cumberland. But I forgot that he won the year before. He won the last event the year before the finale of the NPFL back-to-back years on Grand Lake, skipping docks with a jig. So he's been in shallow grass, shallow rock, shallow dock, like everything, shallow deep.
diverse skill set. Yeah,
He's got the skill sets to not just compete, but close the door on victories. That's hard to do, especially at that kind of variety of fishing.
Sure. Yeah, and once again, I said this last night. I'm going to say it again. We got Taylor on some other brands as well. Scroll back up here. I'll make sure.
Yamamoto and Bill Lewis.
Gotcha. Yeah, and so Taylor's one of those guys that I don't know, and I look forward to meeting. But as with all of the guys that we add, you go get references, right? Like everybody sends us a resume. We're like, oh yeah, I've heard of them. Cool. No, like what I heard of them is one thing, but what their peers say about them is who they probably really are, right? And man, you start asking about Taylor Watkins, you hear the same story every time. Mm-hmm. Super solid dude, like great fisherman. I heard it from multiple people that like he's just a stud. So I'm excited, man. I mean, and I think he's one of those up and comers, right? Like, he's hitting his prime right now, and I want to learn how and why, and figure out how we can turn that into products that help other people do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If you could have half the success that Taylor Watkins has had in the last 2 years, you'd be a pretty good bass fisherman.
Dang right. All right, who we got next?
Blake Smith.
Oh man. Blake Smith. You can't say enough about Blake Smith. We've had Blake Smith with Yamamoto since we all got here. Mm-hmm. And as I spoke about earlier, Blake is one of those guys that believes in us, and we believe in him to the point that we just got him across the board with every brand. There's nobody I know that works harder than Blake Smith. He'll work every show. He does all of the he organizes all the Meet the Pro events. Mm-hmm. But not only that, hammer time. Like, dude, look, there's nobody on this list. I don't care what tour they're fishing, what their money one is. If you're on this list and you're fishing for a living, you're a hammer. And I'll be honest, this may be a controversial take. Some of the best fishermen I've ever met in my life are not at the top of the leaderboards on either pro tour. And that's facts. I mean, fight me. I don't care. But Blake Smith is a hammer, and man, just one of those other guys that's a real culture guy for our group, right? Like, dude, you won't meet a better human than Blake Smith, like better family man. And we all ought to love Blake Smith simply because he's got 5 daughters. You got a couple daughters, Wes. You know how tough that is. Blake Smith has 5 of them.
Bless him. Yeah.
So
something else interesting I'm seeing about Blake that I really didn't know till I just was digging into his bio a little bit deeper is he's been a competitive saltwater angler as well.
Very. He's a Florida guy.
Uh-huh.
And a saltwater captain. Like, he's had quite a bit of success on the
he's fished the IFA Redfish Tour. Yeah.
Blake says, and one on the way.
There you go. Congrats.
Yeah, man. Like, and the cool thing, this is one of the few brands right now currently that we make some saltwater products in, right? And we do sell a saltwater series of rattle traps with the CAD plated hooks. Yeah, a little more durable. And you can take your regular traps, the Echo. Man, that little joker's killer on redfish. That's what I was gonna say. I can't wait to go crank an Echo around on some braid for some big old redfish drum. But
they love that gold.
Blake's the first guy I worked a show with when I came to GSM. He met me. I knew who he was. He's one of those guys that, I said this last night about Nick LeBrun. I had 50 people go, man, you got to know this guy because y'all are going to be best friends. And like Blake Smith's that dude too, right? Like, are we best friends? Yes. Like he's that guy. And man, I'm when we started talking about getting him on these other brands, it was never, ever even a slight hesitation. If we get 20 more brands, I want Blake Smith on with them too. He's just, man, what an incredible ambassador for our company. And I'm going to tell you what, the dude's a mover, a shaker, a thinker. Like, I love his direction that he takes when you talk tackle with him. Everybody's a little bit different, but Blake's a dude, and I'm glad to have him on here. All right, so let's go to the next new addition to the Bill Lewis team. And this is a guy that is one of those grinders too, man. Like, I met this guy at I was fishing a Central Open a couple years ago, hung out with him during a fog delay one day, and he knows a lot about tackle, but he's just a really good outdoorsman as a whole. Great fisherman, really good outdoorsman as a whole. And that's Chancey Walters. We've had Chancey on with Yamamoto already. We brought him on with Buckeye and with Bill Lewis this year. He's a Southern Iowa dude, lives up there where all those big deer are. He's a wildlife artist. He owns a company called Crank Wraps, like the instant lure customization, where the adhesive wraps that can go on hard baits. He owns a cover spray scent for whitetail. He's a hunter and personality for whitetail adrenaline, and fishes. I believe what's he fishing?
All 9 opens.
All 9 opens on top of that. So Chancey's a busy cat, but he's one of those dudes that, like, man, he gets out there and he's on the water all the time. Started fishing tournaments when he was like 12 years old. Got a lifetime of experience at 38, and man, Chancey's going to be a huge part of what we're building here. So we're super excited to have him. He's been fishing the Bassmaster Open for like 4 years, and he's going to do everything. I know this guy well enough. He's going to work hard and do everything he has to do to make the Elite Series. So
yeah, and then clearly he's someone he's a hustler. You have to be a hustler to make the opens, fishing all the opens work, not just once, but year after year after year, and balance all the crazy things he's doing.
Yeah. So rock on. Glad to have Chancey. Oh, and Blake Smith, look, he's got one of those stories too. I told you, everybody's got one. Thankful to be on the team. Pretty sure the first bass I ever caught was on a chrome blue rattle trap. Like, I'm telling you, everybody's got a trap story. So let's go to the next guy. Who do you have, Wes?
Looks like Evan Barnes is next up to bat here.
Yeah, we're
he comes from a rattle trap area there, Dardanelle. That's a grass lake, and
if we were ranking these guys on looks, we'd have put him way further down the list.
Oh, come on, Crispin.
Dude, look, I love Evan Barnes is a dear friend of mine, and we're gonna give each other some stuff. So I hope he's listening. That was a good shot for him.
See if he's paying attention.
That's right. Tell us about Evan, Wes.
Well, so he's 32 years old. Like I said, out of Dardanelle, going into the 7th year fishing professionally after qualifying for the MLF Pro Circuit through the Toyota Series. Through the course of his career, he's finished in the top 10 22 times. Pretty strong. And fished over 100 total events. So he stayed very busy. Says when he's not on the road fishing, he's working at his new business venture, All Things Marine, in Centerville, Arkansas.
That is actually
where your boat is, right?
My boat is there right now. And look, I'm going to give him a little shameless plug because I made fun of his looks. Man, they rig boats, electronics. They do a little bit of everything, and he is fantastic at it. He does it.
Centerville, Arkansas. I see.
The thing about it, Evan in the off season rigs boats just like a pro would want their boat rigged, right? So all things marine, man, they've got it going on. So anyway, there's my makeup for calling him ugly. Go ahead.
There you go. Well, definitely last but not least, he says his faith is a huge part of his life and he tries best to use whatever platform God gives him. So, it looks like that's about everything we've got on Evan here.
Yeah, Evan and Blake are super tight. I know Evan and LeBrun are super tight, and Evan and James are super tight. Like, I'm going to touch on it again. I actually had several people message me last night after our live stream and today while we were working the show, and I heard that one theme over and over and over again in the messages I got was, man, you guys are doing this right. You guys are building a team around culture. You're building a team around, like a oneness of family of guys. And Evan fits that like a glove. And we're not, dude, don't get me wrong. I'm bragging on him after I've been dogging on him. I'm trying to make it up to him. But make no mistake, man, Evan Barnes can catch him. He can really, really catch him. He's won some pretty tough events, placed in a bunch of events, and I can't wait to see what he does this year on the Opens. So we're excited to have Evan on the team, and we've got Evan across the board with every brand for a reason, right? So, all right. So next,
there's Blake Collins. What's up, Blake? Out there in Oklahoma, he's one of our kayak fishing pro staff members.
Oh yeah, awesome, man.
Yeah, we've got a lot of Bill Lewis fans, and Bill Lewis, some of our teammates in the chat. I see Nick, informed a fisherman, saying we better pick up a steel shad with all these cold put downs you're throwing down on Evan. I don't know if a steel shad is all it would take to fix that. So all I'm saying is he better send a lot of business to all things marine.
Evan said that was a peace offering. So no, man, I wouldn't know what to think if Evan wasn't picking on me or I wasn't picking on him. So let me introduce our next guy. And this is a guy that I've known for a long time. And this guy's an industry veteran. And I'm not just calling him old, despite the fact that he is old. But he is a really, really good fisherman, been around for a long time and been very successful for a long time. He's one of those guys.
He knows a lot about lure design too.
He knows a ton, man. Like if you don't know him, you might not know the backstory to how much this industry has his and his family's fingerprint on it, with different baits that have come out over the years.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about Pete Ponds. He's a Mississippi dude, man. Like he's but here to say that, he's caught them really good everywhere for a long time. I met Pete first personally. We were in Mexico doing seminars for this big fishing event down there in Monterey. And then we went and fished together on Sugar Lake for a couple days. And just one of those guys, you're around him and I said this last night, and I mean it. He's just kind of a Southern gentleman, I remember what Jennifer Murphy, our
marketing
main right hand in marketing, said, "What Pete sent her a birthday card." Like he's just that dude, right? Like Pete's such a good guy, and he's so humble, but he's very intelligent. When it comes to lure design, he can tell you exactly what's wrong with one, tell you what you should have done different. And so we're going to utilize that on the front end, right? Like we got some stuff coming with Bill Lewis that Pete is going to shorten the learning curve for us a little bit. And I'll tell a little bit about him. He been fishing professionally for 27 years. Jackalope here was just not even around when Pete started fishing.
Pete was whacking them.
Yeah. He's won over $1 million. Currently fishing the MLF Pro Circuit. Is a lure designer and a part-time fishing guide. He's fished in the Bassmasters Classic, Elite Series, MLF Selects. I can't talk. Has a passion for the outdoors, enjoys spending time with his wife, Kim, and his children. Justin and Lauren. His hobbies include wing shooting and, of course, fishing. Now, here's what I can tell you. You log on to his Facebook right now, you're going to see fish catches, deer, and ducks, because that's what he is doing right now. I think he fishes 12 months out of the year and throws in some hunting when he can. But, man, Pete's a great dude. And as John Warden says, Pete is a hammer. Hey, I do want to do this. Ricky Botsford is kind of manning the controls for us tonight, keeping everything flowing here. And he's doing this in the middle of his daughter's birthday party.
So we want to talk about the craziness with daughters.
Yeah, no,
Ricky's living it.
He is living it large right now. And so from the GSM crew, from Bill Lewis Fishing, we just want to wish Catherine a very happy birthday. We're going to try not to keep Dad any longer than we have to. Dad's probably nuts for being here with us right now. Or although if I could escape a birthday party full of girls, I'd probably find an excuse to. So anyway, without further ado, who we got next, Wes? Or no, yeah, Wes, grab it. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Jack, talking to Wes.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, there's Stephen Obester down in Florida. Hey, Stephen. He's a pro staff member down there. Real good dude. Next on our list, let's see here. We're going to head back out west for this one to Arizona. Ty Al.
Oh, man.
Been a great member of the Yamamoto team. I know you guys have worked with Ty a good bit. I've just gotten to know him more recently in some of our product development meetings, and I've been really impressed so far.
Yeah, he's an impressive guy, not only on the water, but off the water, and especially on the water.
Yeah.
I mean, if you mention Ty, I've got a bunch of friends, as you guys do, that do this for a living, and they're like, man, well, who all do you guys have? And every time you say Ty out, everybody goes, stick. Like everybody he catches them, man. And the thing about Ty that I love is Ty's optimism. Like he's always smiling, man. He's always laughing, cutting up. I think you said this last night. If you're not following Ty on social media,
you're missing out.
Yeah.
Straight up missing out.
So I know Ty threw a little thing up. He threw a little love to Bill Lewis up a little while back, talking about he's
right.
got those rattle trap stories, right?
Yep.
Same thing. Started out, one of his first trips out with, I think, his father or somebody.
Yeah.
Older person in his life brought him out, and he said they just started kind of fan casting out of the boat with traps and catching them, and kind of got him hooked. So that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'll never get tired of hearing that. And it translated into a career as a professional for so many of these people, even in our chat tonight with, Blake and Ty and so forth. And who else said that? Matt Becker said that also, and so Ty is he's got like 19 top 10 finishes.
And that's across the Wild West Bass Tour, the MLF, and he's done it. The cool thing, I remember speaking of top 10s, speaking of rookie year top 10s going together, his rookie year on the pro circuit for MLF, I remember he was at Lewis Smith Lake in Alabama, top 10 there, went to Murray the next week, I think it was, top 10 there. So, and he's done back-to-back. He can string together some really big events. And he did it even, I think, in the Toyota Series, he strung 3 together, 1 AOI, including 2 of those being wins. He won 2 of the 3 to get an AOI. So
yeah, he's like everybody says, man, Ty is a stick. And one of the things that's cool about Ty is if you follow him on social media, you kind of learn a little bit about who he is and how he got where he's at. And it's not that story of a dude that grew up with, family paying his entry fees and stuff. Like this guy would get in his car without a boat and drive all night out west, because a lot of those lakes are pretty far apart, sleep in his car at the ramp and jump in the boat with his team partner the next day. Or, if it was a pro-am event, he would be the, show up and fish as an amateur. And Ty's worked it out and made his dream come true, man. And so we are super, super stoked to have him on our team. And he's already throwing some crazy good ideas our way for new products. So, Jack, who we got next, bud?
Who we got next is another keeping it West Coast. We got a guy who fishes out of a kayak, and that's Shane Lamont. Now, I've never met Shane personally, but I've had the chance to actually message him. He actually messaged me a little bit. after our chat last night, just introducing himself a little bit more. And I got to learn a little bit more about Shane and the kind of the journey he's been on. And he's someone he's one of those people we've got guys on the Bill Lewis team that are, the Nick LeBruns of the world, the tops of bass fishing, but that's not where Bill Lewis is only at. It's about grassroots. It's about connecting with real everyday anglers. And Wes, you've done a phenomenal job in building that. And so continuing with that, we got a guy like Shane who fishes the kayak tournaments. He fishes bass, KBF, ABA, and he's qualified for some of the biggest tournaments that you can out of a kayak out west. And he's done it while building his social media, Bass Thumbs Fishing.
Yeah.
And so really, again, those two things go hand in hand, and it's something that we really value.
Sure.
Is not only can you catch them, but then how can you tell that story to others? Because it's at the end of the day, that's what it's about, and that's what we hope that social media is used for, is to connect people with those experiences that they have and just get to share fishing.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we all have our qualms with social media from time to time, but the most purest form of what social media brings to society is when it's used for good. And I think guys like Shane are an example of how you can help people be more successful. You can help people understand how to do things better and really just bring value to their experience. And, I have no doubt that he's going to help us do that and take our, because look, at the end of the day, nobody ever gets up here and says this. Man, we're not up here just trying to bait. Yes, we sell baits. That's how we pay our bills. That's how we feed our families. But we could all go sell something and probably make more money. We're passionate about this. We love fishing and we love fishermen, and I'm telling you, man, I mean, I can't overstate how much it means to me to hear somebody say, man, that bait you guys came out with has my son and I, or my daughter and I, or, and the social media influence side of it is so important in making sure that we get our message. We educate our consumers. We help people become better. So, man, I look up to folks like this that they've made that kind of who they are and what they do.
But not just doing it, but doing it right.
Doing it right, exactly. So, Shane's actually in the chat. West Coast.
What's up, Shane?
Hammer. So
we're glad to have you on, dude.
Yeah,
we got a member of the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame on here, Dan Galusha. Hey, Dan.
Man, we got like going on.
It's a party out here.
Yeah,
Facebook.
So Shane is online, hanging out with us. Ty's in there. What's up, y'all? Ty, man, that's such a funny dude. But let's keep moving. Let me introduce the next guy. He's a really good friend of mine. You meet people that are just. How would I say this? Let me just throw this out there. I'm going to just take a shot here. This next guy is as good with a crankbait as anybody I've ever met.
Ooh, that's strong.
That's a strong statement. And we got to talking a while back. We've been friends for a while. I've got to talk with him during some of the highs of his careers and the lowest lows of his careers. But Brandon Perkins is a Tennessee River dude, lives down on Pickwick. And when I tell you this cat can catch them cranking, man, we were talking the other day about the in-depth details of the MR6, how much he loves it, the 12, how good it is, and maybe some new stuff in store. You need a good cranker on your staff, just throwing that out there. But that's recorded live for the world. And throwing a jig. Perkins is a stick, but I need him for another reason these days. Little pet project we got going on here. Hint, hint. So Perkins, let me tell you a little bit about Perkins. I've actually got this on my phone. Let me find it. I had it. I keep getting text messages and it messes me up. So Brandon Perkins, got to be able to spell his name right. So I'm going to run through his bio. 41-year-old. He's a sales professional in the medical field. Says when he's not on the water. Once again, I don't know that that's a reality. Wife is Tisha, 2 little girls, Lakin and Lola. Brandon is busy. He has a full-time job, competes on the NPFL, and coaches multiple travel ball teams for both of his girls. Multiple. if you know what that means, you know what that means. So,
And you know what that means.
I know what that means. And I don't coach multiple. I've coached multiple teams, but not multiple travel ball teams. So let me give you a little rundown of some stuff here. 2021 NPFL Pickwick champion. 2021 NPFL runner-up AOY. 2016 Forest Wood Cup. 2015 Costa Championship, came in second place. And in 2009, the ABA National Champion. His favorite Bill Lewis lure is the MR6. And look, man, Perkins can catch them. I think you could put Perkins on any tour and he would be very competitive. And just really excited to see about how he's gonna help us.
Yeah, how he might.
How he might, being a good deep crankbait guy, help us at Bill Lewis. So anyway, welcome to the team, Brandon. So we'll keep moving. I'm getting a little out there with my info right now. So who do we have?
I gotta agree with him on the MR6. I mean, I know you can't. It's hard to say the rattle trap's not our best bait because it's so proven, but like, man, I find myself tying that MR6 on more than anything these days. It just comes through grass so good. It casts so well, that transfer weight.
Yeah. I really, I had thrown it some, but, I worked for another bait company and I threw everything to try to learn it. But, man, I really, if I were being honest with you, which I will be, did Crispin mention how old you are? Wow. I ain't getting in the middle of that. But I didn't give it, and I bet everybody that's on here can relate to this. You ever picked up a bait and thrown it and went, yeah, that's pretty good, but never gave it like what it was due?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Like, especially the ones where someone's like, they talk it up a lot, and you're like, yeah. It goes in your boat, you make one cast with it, and then you go to catch them on whatever they were biting that day.
Yeah, so you don't give it the attention it deserves. Well, man, this is that bait. Actually, I've got two of those. The MR6 I'm in love with. The Echo. I remember calling Wes one day and I'm like, bro, why does everybody not have a box of these in their boat? Like, they just ate the paint off of them.
It's a great bait. We haven't marketed it that much, so hopefully more people will find out about it and start trying it. But incredible lure. Yeah, that Echo. Yeah. I call it the Colorado blade of square bills because it's just got more thump to it than your average.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. And the fact is, it's a shame, I think, that a lot of people don't understand how cool that bait is, because I'm telling you, like, it would be a bestseller everywhere. We're going to get it there. I promise. We're going to show people what it is and how to use it. Yeah. So let's keep moving. We're already over an hour.
Yeah. That's just, across the board with GSM, we've expanded greatly, and that's no different here with Bill Lewis. So it's a lot of people to run through, but that's a good problem to have.
Sure.
Very good problem to have. So another person that we're adding, another young gun, is Marshall Robinson. Now his dad we have over at Buckeye. We got Marshall on everything, and that's a good thing for us because Marshall can freaking catch him.
Yeah, Marshall's one of those young guys. Every time I open social media, I see a post or read something about where Marshall's caught him again.
Yep. I've been following them both, both Marshall and his brother for years, just because, like, again, I keep up with people who are, up and comers. I love following the sport and who's coming up, and their names throughout high school were always at the top of leaderboards locally around that South Carolina area. But recently, Marshall's been putting it on national stages. He fished that Toyota Series championship on Gunnersville, finished second. And that championship is no joke. It's a $200,000 championship. That's about as big as it comes in fishing. And he's fishing against 200 plus anglers against some of the best from everywhere in the country. And he finished second. And it's not like, oh, well, it was his home lake. No, he's from South Carolina. He showed up at Gunnersville fishing grass.
And how old was he?
He's 19.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And the veterans have noticed. I mean, Gerald Swindle told us, he's like, y'all need to look at this guy. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. People take note. It's one thing to go out and win, get a little bit of fanfare, blah, blah, blah. Like, people notice these guys that do it consistently, and to do it consistently at his age is almost unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
So
And the people like Gerald Swindle, when that's your reference, saying, he's not being paid. Hey, this kid is first ballot draft is into bass fishing's top levels.
Right,
He said
I
this
think that
dude,
was his words. He's like, he's a top round draft pick. He's like,
he would be a first round draft pick if that's the way fishing was. He said,
right.
you've
He's
got to get him on your
a
team.
5-star coming out of high school.
Hey,
Right?
now, speaking of marshals, I don't think I saw Marshall Hughes on this list. I know we maybe added him a little bit earlier in the year, but I didn't want to go without mentioning.
Yeah, no, let's not. Jack and I actually talked about that earlier, and I think that's what happened. Like, we didn't talk about Marshall last night because I think when we compiled this list, it was the guys that just signed right here recently. But
yeah, we kind of signed him in the off season a little bit, like late fall, early fall. Yeah.
And so you've got a little bit of background with Marshall Hughes, right?
Well, he came out and fished our tournament last year and brought a gigantic bag across the stage. That got my attention, but I've just been hearing more and more about him, even from people on our sales team over in Texas. They're like, hey, this Marshall Hughes guy, man, he's like winning everything over here.
Yeah.
So, it's impossible to not notice Marshall right now if you're paying attention at all in Texas, right?
Yeah, I've heard the very same thing. And Marshall has been a really hot name in that South and East Texas market, just winning a bunch of tournaments, catching a bunch of fish. And I'll tell you a thing or two about Marshall. I've spent some time talking to him, and I look forward to the next conversation with him because, man, he's such a good guy. And he's very modest, despite the amount of success he's had at the level he's fished at. And I think he's stepping his game up, and I think he's going to get out and chase it a little harder, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know what he's fishing this year?
I'm not quite sure what he's fishing. I know he's been competing at the Toyota Series level, and he also jumped in I think he just jumped into that Bass Open they had on Rayburn, and he missed the final day cut. I think he finished 11th. They take the top 10, so he missed it by ounces. And that was, I believe, his only Open on record. So to jump in your very first Open, there's something about that. Usually there's a lot of nerves. That's a big deal to then suddenly say, I'm not just fish against the local sticks on your lake, but them plus these guys who are chasing the elite dream. And a lot of them are former professional fishermen.
Sure.
And so he competed, no problem. That didn't seem to faze Marshall at all.
Yeah, no, Marshall is a name that he's a guy who I wouldn't be surprised to hear his name at any level in the future. I believe if Marshall decides that he's going to go chase it at the highest level, he'll be successful there. I believe Marshall will make, if let's say hypothetically, and I'm not speaking for him, I'm just speaking hypothetically, if Marshall decides to fish big tournaments there in East Texas, I think he'll just take everybody's money as long as he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
And but man, he is a really good fisherman who has a really good brain for different ways to catch them and how to achieve that. And ultimately, I want to kind of re-emphasize this. We're not just hiring guys to stick our logo on their boat. We're not hiring guys to slap our name on their jersey. We're hiring people who, A, fit our culture, B, we welcome into our family. And as much as any of that, they bring value to the brand. And what I mean by that is they offer insight, they offer experience, they offer knowledge that helps us come up with concepts, take them to the design phase, and eventually get them in the people's boats that allow them to be better at what they do and what they're passionate about. And so just throwing that out there, like, I know we sit here and it sounds like we're calling off like an all-star roster, right? Which we are, which is super awesome. But at the end of the day, we're not just like, oh, we got this guy and we got that guy. No, what we're really promoting here is we have this collective of incredible resource to help us be the best we can be at Bill Lewis. And as of, 1/1, when all these contracts come into effect, when these guys are, okay, here we go, let's get started. We're ultimately just better as a brand. We're better as a team. We're better as a company. So we've been talking behind the scenes for months, Wes and Jack, about, look at this. Like, Look at this. There's Ricky. Ricky just
Yeah,
jumped on
Ricky coming on.
for half a second. He's
Ricky
trying to
flashed
escape
us.
the
I
girl.
thought we were about to have to sing happy birthday for a minute.
Bring
You don't
we'll-
want that.
Yeah, we'll do it though. I mean, I promise you, I sound like a combination of like Cher and Manilow. Like if you put those two together, that's what I sing like.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Cher sounds like. So, but no, I mean that's it. That's our new guys. I'm sure we forgot somebody, and I'll hear about it tomorrow because that's just how life works. But man, I'm so excited to have this kind of team, this kind of family. Sorry about that. It's cool, Ricky. If that's the worst you do, bro, we're way ahead. If you'd let me run this thing, there ain't no telling what would have been popping up on
This
there. But
platform's been super smooth tonight.
yeah, man. Look, hey, and I'm gonna give Ricky a shout out. Bass 365.
That's right.
Man, he does a phenomenal job with coverage, some behind the scenes stuff, industry stuff. He's the one running this for us the last couple nights. So give them a follow. Check Ricky out. He's the guy's at every tournament, I think. I don't know how he's at that many places at once.
Yeah, like we talk about like, wow, how does this guy fish 9 opens? Ricky's at every tournament that's ever out there at the professional level.
Every tour, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, and the guys and everybody, like if you follow professional fishing on social media to any extent, you'll see Ricky's work.
That's right.
It may not always be bad,
One
but it's-
really nice thing about bass365.com is they do cover every tour, so you can
That's right.
get all the info at one site.
Yeah. Oh, and
Takes
Ty
a lot of traveling, huh, Ricky?
no doubt.
Yeah.
Ty says make sure you download his app, Bass 365. So, hey, let's do this. It is 8:11. Let's go to 8:30 and we'll kill it. So let's go 20 minutes. Let's ask.
Questions up.
Let's open it up to questions. Give you the best answers we have, or we will lie. So, we all know the rattle trap has the one and only true knocking trap. The season is upon us. Congratulations on the great team of ambassadors. Thanks, Derek. Man, we appreciate it. That's the cool thing about the trap is, man, like I won a tournament in a bass club once upon a time with one of the Wes, I don't remember what it's called. It's the silent one.
Oh, the stealth trap.
Stealth trap. Yeah.
Yeah, it got cut, but yeah. I had to drive a bunch of those over to Mark Daniels last year one night when he was fishing at Rayburn. The pros love them, but they just wouldn't sell. I think we sold less than 500 like nationally the last year. But the knocking trap he's talking about there, we do still sell those, but a lot of people don't even realize we make a knocking trap. So I'm glad he brought it up. What's that?
How many derbies will Jack Dice win this year?
Gosh, Ty, I hope I win at least one. Like one would be phenomenal. So
We'd love for you to win one. You're only fishing like 30.
Well, you won one within the past 4 months? Not technically in 23, but
yeah. So it's a new year. So it's a new slate.
yeah,
So
but within that BFL was how long ago?
that was back in August. So
August, yeah. It's time for another Jack.
So I just actually had somebody message me that they have an idea for a rattle trap. Attaboy. We're gonna keep that one under wraps. That one's not going online. Kenneth Grover, my main man down in the land of Alabama. Battle of the Brands, Lake Gunnersville, February 5th.
Yeah.
So real quick, Wes, you've been putting on the trap tournament for a while.
Yeah. It
What are we
started
doing,
out
bud?
just rattle traps only, and I think the first tournament was like 42 boats or something like that. And honestly, it was when we were just kind of strapped for advertising funds and we were trying to find creative ways to promote. And we're like, hey, if everybody comes and fishes, we'll give them all their money back. They just have to use our baits. And the thing's grown like over the past 10 years into a 300 boat plus size event. And of course, as we rolled out new baits, we had to allow those to be used too. And now that we've got Yamamoto and Buckeye and Still Shad working with us, we'll open it up. So we'll be heading out to Rayburn January 22nd. Anybody out there is welcome to come. You just have to bring a boat and be ready to fish. and we'll be heading to
Is there a kayak division at Rayburn?
Yeah, and we have a kayak division. In fact, I saw Steve Owens on here earlier, one of our tournament directors. If he's still there, hey, Steve. He'll be the tournament director for the Gunnersville kayak division. Then we got Bobby Sharpley directing the kayak division at Rayburn. So, yeah, battle of the brands. Can use any of the branded baits, Yamamoto, Buckeye, Bill Lewis, Still Shad. January 22nd at Rayburn and February 5th at Gunnersville.
Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of buzz starting to get stirred out there about those events. And I've never fished a trap tournament, but I've heard about them forever. So I'm super excited to go hang out with everybody. We're going to have some pros there. We're going to have some awesome prizes. I know I'm going to mess this up, but who all do we have? Let's give them a little bit of love. I know Bahio Sunglasses has come on and partnered with us.
Yeah.
TH Marine. Mm-hmm. Who else have we got, Wes?
Mustad stepped up. They're sending a bunch of really nice hooks in that we're going to put in the goodie bags.
Yeah. And then we've got on contingency programs with, I know Skeeter, Phoenix.
Most of the boat companies.
Yeah, most all the boat companies.
Triton, Nitro, Ranger, I believe, White River Marine.
Yeah, so it's it is.
So you could, if you're running one of those boats, you have the potential to win some really big cash on top of the prizes we're already giving, like that those companies are stepping up. So
yeah, and some of our sister companies at GSM have gotten involved as well. Cyclops, LEDs, light bars, headlamps, flashlights, SOG knives, which makes the baddest multi-tool. If you've never used it, promise you, like I won't use another multi-tool since I got a SOG in my hand. Cold steel knives, just an incredibly unique and awesome brand. I actually carry a cold steel knife every day. And Zero Trace, which is kind of like an ozonics kind of machine, brand of products that you should probably find a way to use one. I use them for hunting to keep my clothes where they're descented. They should have them in the restroom at the convention center where we're at. No doubt. Anyway.
It's a cool deal, though. You pretty much plug it in your truck and it like just removes the bad odor somehow.
Yeah, you can put it in a bucket. It's a cool thing. I know a lot of hunters have been using them for years, but it's way more of a multi-application than that. All right, come on, guys. We have.
Hey, Greg Hauser. There's a Missouri fella there on our pro staff, Greg Hauser.
Greg.
He came and fished the Gunnersville tournament last year. He's got a question.
Angler track for social media.
Yes.
Jennifer Murphy question, but I believe yes. For marketing, as far as Angler Track, that app.
I'm not lying. So y'all.
Jay Murphy at gsmorg.com.
Yeah. I see we got Tiffany Leal on. She's another part of our GSM team. She's a co-angler in the Opens. And
yes, we do have. Hey, Tiffany, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Awesome having you on the team, and we are also excited to see what's happening this year. Scope Stick was on fire today on Table Rock. Look, the guy running the Bill Lewis social media right now, been out fishing all day.
And we've been working.
Yeah, so what is up with that? And look, I don't know Stephen Obester.
Oh, yeah, Stephen.
The 70-second comment about a warmouth MR6. I don't know what that pattern should look like. I know what a warmouth is. Stephen, I don't know. I'll get you one painted. Promise.
You're gonna love Stephen. Let me tell you about Stephen. Like we linked up years back. He was down there in Florida, like sneaking on the golf courses, catching huge fish and sending pictures with rattle traps. And I was like, man, this is great content. We started communicating, and I think they eventually gave him a pass to the Saddlebrook golf course there near Jacksonville or something like that. He's actually got a pass now, but he went from there to fishing in tournaments, Major League Fishing co-angler side, and qualified for nationals this past year.
Oh, wow.
So he's continuing to step it up, and it's really cool to see him develop,
And apparently he believes he would step it up more with a warmouth.
Yeah.
Warmouth
He kills it down in Florida with that. Sunfish patterns, they work real good down there.
For sure. Ty Adams, is there a secret Yamamoto color that's only available to pro staff? No. We don't make anything specifically for pro staff.
There's some colors that the pro staff wish we kept secret.
100%.
That's for sure.
Green pumpkin. Yeah, secret color only available for the pro staff.
Yeah, the pros actually are throwing a different version of green pumpkin than the public.
Do not do this, Jack.
Okay.
Lord, do not do this to us.
Chrome blue.
Man,
now, I'll tell you a chrome blue trick I see them do is take a pocket knife out and start scraping the chrome out. They don't want to wait, you know.
I used to make a bone trap
Yeah.
by scrape, but for whatever reason, man, it had to be. You couldn't just sand one down. Like you had to scrape the paint off a chrome one to get it right. And
Yeah.
man, I'm gonna be honest. I've told you this. I have caught so many big ones in my life on a root beer trap. Like,
Yeah, you love the root beer. That's a Kentucky Lake thing, though, huh?
It
Isn't that
is,
real popular up there?
yep, bone and root beer were growing up, man, were staples. Like you had to have them tied on.
Yeah.
What else we got? There it is. No, it's not. It is not.
Hey, he said we either have a good answer or we lie. So
Well, Jack
you
lied.
can guess which one that was.
Rattle trap orders won't ship till the 10th. Dirk, I don't know. I don't actually.
I think we're doing inventory, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
that's exactly right.
Yeah, they're doing inventory this week, so they're
Yeah.
going to be shipping stuff out next week once they get that done. It's
Us
one of
and
those things
everybody
you
else, because
you
I'm waiting on some things from some other companies that are holding up progress in my life, and they're shut down until
it's killing
Freedom
us all. You know, you gotta the counting stuff's not fun, but it's important, and they got to do it. So they're doing the inventory right now.
Yeah, I promise you, I've got something I'm waiting on that I am on hold until it happens. I'm not going to call any brands out. I love them, but I sure wish they would ship my stuff out. So, used to do the same thing on Lake of the Ozarks, scrape to bone. Tim Reed, little Skeeter love right there. Tim Reed, good fisherman, Skeeter boat rep. And if that's the same, I'm assuming that's the same Tim Reed. But that's the thing when you've got a name like mine, nobody ever goes, I wonder if that's the same Crispin Powley. Like a blessing and a curse. Ty, I know what it is. Don't y'all quit. Y'all are gonna start some mess, and I'm gonna have to deal with it.
Hey, I thought all press was good press.
No, that is not
start some
absolutely
rumor.
true.
Bass 365 can run it. This rumor that the pros have something nobody else has. I know back in your day, there were pros on your team, and they're like, they got to be having something different with striking, and even whether it's the same striking in here, there's no secret.
I'm not even going to talk about it because all it's going to do is create a problem. Tomorrow there'll be 72 emails. What do I got to do to get the green pumpkin that the pros have? Thank you, Jack.
Hey, that's when we make a new color. Pro green pumpkin.
Green, bro, you may be on something. You heard it here first. Pro green pumpkin. Wes painted me a secret color about a decade ago. Well, I am waiting on Wes to paint me a secret color.
Hey, Wes,
now,
what's this about? I never saw custom painted color.
Yeah, no telling. Casey'd have to let it out the bag. I can't remember at this point.
Adam said he'd buy the first 3 bags of Pro Green Pumpkin.
That's my boy. Thanks, Ty. I'll hook you up.
All right, guys, we're going to give you about 7 more minutes. We've had a long day. I want to get Ricky back to his family. Wes, if you had to pick one trap color to go to an unknown fishery with, what color would it be?
Well, I'm going to differ from, I've heard a lot of people say, like, if I got stranded on an island somewhere and I had like 3 things I could keep, one would be a chrome rattle trap because I could eat off of it for days. For me, though, Silverado rattle trap would be my color of choice, just because the problem with the chrome is if you do get into some stained water, like really off-colored water, they just don't see it as well. And that white with that flake, it works in clear water because it looks a lot like a shad or just a white bait fish in general. Pretty much every lake's got some kind of silvery white bait fish in it. But then when the water gets off color, they can still see it and eat it too. So Silverado is my one color if I had to pick it, Derek. That's an 836, by the way. Silverado. Yeah.
What would yours be, Jack?
I'm boring. Literally, I am that guy. I throw green pumpkin, chrome blue. Like, I am that boy.
And look, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go bone.
A bone, yeah. That's not too far off my Silverado, but
No, but I'm going bone, dude. You can catch them in dirty water, clear water, day, night.
that's the thing about the white ones, right? Or bones or whatever. They just catch them everywhere. Yeah.
See, I'm like all my lakes growing up are almost all like more often than not gin clear. So I just always ended up reaching for whether it be more natural colors or that chrome. Again, there's always light penetration that's flashing off it. It's just
It's clear enough out there in Virginia, huh?
Absolutely.
West Tennessee and Louisiana gets a little murkier.
Yep. All right, guys, 5 minutes. Wes, had a lot of people ask me at the show. I guess they saw on social media where you and I and MDJ went and shot some ducks a couple weeks ago with the Sportsman Gear boys down there in South Louisiana.
Man, that was cool. The way those guys do it down there, where you go to the boat launch and then you ride 40 minutes out to the camp that's powered off generators. And it's just a really cool way to hunt down there in South Louisiana.
Yeah.
And, getting to do it with you and Mark was even cooler,
Yeah, dude, that was one of those. I think I told you guys both. I sent you both a text after and was like, man, that was just such a special deal, and to share it with Tony and his boys and man, that's the most.
I love the Taylors, man. Great family there. Louisiana Sportsman. Growing up, for me, it was like I hate to say Bible, but of sporting magazines, like it's the one that everybody in Louisiana always had and has, and they've got such a cool logo with that Sportsman brand they've developed.
The Fleur de Lis, yeah. So another thing I would be remiss not to say is anybody that doesn't know, I know he's not with us on Bill Lewis, but he is on several other GSM brands, is that Jacob Porosnik is really excited about duck season.
I've heard that from several sources.
Like he's expecting a big duck season. Him and my boy JT Harden, social media guy, missed the invite. Well, maybe you should just go with Porosnik then. Y'all can experience duck season together. Ty, does it hurt the ducks? Well, it depends on who's shooting at them, Ty. If you want to be very truthful about it, whether it hurts them or not. On our trip, we saw some fine displays of wing shooting, and we saw some not so fine displays of wing shooting. And I think we all took turns being all of the above. So
at one point, Crispin's like, Wes, fire your gun in the water. I want to make sure it's working.
I would have never said that publicly, dude.
No, I duck hunt that little, so I can say that. I'm not ashamed. I don't ever duck. I think the last time I'd gone duck hunting was 3 years ago. But
Mark and I are talking about these custom chokes, and bro, you had like this super trick custom choke in your gun, and
I got good friends,
Yeah, no, Ty said no elk were hurt on my hunting trip. Yeah, I've been on an elk trip like that too, brother.
Yeah.
So look, it's 8:28. Let's wrap it up. Let's let Ricky jump off here and get back to his family. First off, on behalf of Wes and Jack, on behalf of Bill Lewis, GSM Fishing, I start to sound like a commercial.
You were rolling.
Yeah. Hey, everybody that tuned in, thank y'all. Man, this is fun.
Yeah.
Like there is very few companies, if any, that I think are doing what we're doing, right? Like we want to connect with our people. We want to talk, hang out, listen to you, and explain things to you. So we appreciate you guys jumping on, and this is, as Nick says, good times, and we're going to have more good times. We're all going to be together quite a bit over the next month. At the tournaments, the Battle of the Brands. I know we're going to have fun at registrations. We're going to have. I just got confirmation we're going to have some Skeeter demo rides at our registrations. We're going to give out tons of stuff. We're going to have pros there answering questions, hanging out. There's always some food involved, which is awesome. We'll talk new baits. It's just, man, there's so much going on right now. And this is like the calendar's turned. It's freaking fishing time again. Like I'm excited, and I'm excited to hang out with you guys. I'm over at Jack. I'm ready for Jack to go home. But other than that, we'll be back together here at Jack and I'll be back together here in a couple weeks.
Sooner than you'd like, I guess.
Sooner than I may like. And then the three of us will be together at Rayburn and then again at Gunnersville. So, hey, you know what? Join us. We're going to have some live events. Come out to our tournaments. You got questions, man, we're all on social media and we will respond to you if you'll reach out to us. So, man, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate all our pro anglers. There's James Fletch. We got Nick. We got just all these people tuned in here tonight. Blake and Evan and Becker was on here. I can't remember who all else, but man, thank y'all for jumping on. Can't wait to see you again. Need us, you know where we're at, and we're going to jump off. Everybody have a good night. Appreciate you. Love you. See you soon.
Good night, fellas.
See you guys.